Welcome to the Getting Started video for the AccuTraining webinar series. My name's Nick Armstrong, and I'll be the one going over AccuTraining here. I'm sure most of you are familiar somewhat with what AccuTraining is, but before we get started, I just wanted to go over, in case you haven't heard of it or you're still wondering what AccuTraining can do for you. Basically, this is a great way for you guys to track your employee trainings. With AccuTraining, you can create training plans, and with those training plans, you can have a set amount of hours that they're required that they need to complete. You can say what courses they need to complete in those training plans. And basically, you can track the employee's attendance to each of those training sessions. At the end of the day, we'll get reports for the progress the employees are making in those plans, and also, what training sessions or courses they've attended. Not only that, we do have a mobile option for tracking your employees, not only through the computer, which most people are familiar with, but through an Apple device, such as an iPod, iPad, or iPhone. We even have a way of generating badges through the system so that you can scan and record the sign-ins easily with those. And we also have different types of reader options as well, with RFID tags, barcode readers, magnetic stripe readers if you have a card system, and all of that can be done. And if you haven't already requested a 30-day trial, we do offer that through our website. So just head out to engineerica.com/AccuTraining and find out more. Okay, and if you've already done that, let's go ahead and get started here. Alright, so when you first get into your AccuTraining account, you're going to notice the main menu. It's pretty obvious here. Just going through each section, we're going to go through what you need to get started. First thing you want to do is go ahead and adjust your settings. So we're going to scroll down to the advanced options settings, and in there you can see we have a lot of different options. The basic thing that we're going to want to start with is just the general settings. Okay, when we get in here, the first thing I'm going to want to do is upload a logo. So here, let's see, we're going to do, let's say, our company logo here. Okay, so I've got my company logo in there, and I'm going to set my time zone. If I'm outside of the US, I'll use this checkbox. Okay, so that configures several things. The time zone is pretty necessary when you're working with the mobile devices, so that every device knows what time zone to be using, and calculates the scans in and out in the appropriate time zone. Okay, the next thing that we'll need to look at is our attendance settings. So these are going to be basically all the rules that will follow when an employee logs in or signs into a training session. So first thing in the general section is it says create a new log after blank hours of activity. Okay, what this means is basically is like an auto sign out. So how long do they stay in the system before you go ahead and sign them out? Okay, the next thing is the default time in. Default time in is works two different ways. It's the normal time that your training courses take place. So if you have a standard training session time, that's what you're going to want to put in there. But also, it can be what you give employees who don't sign out and meet this X amount of hours of inactivity. Sorry. So right here is those settings where we'd set that. So it says logs must start and end on the same date. So that may be a requirement. Some people may want to have their attendance be tracked over multiple days, so you would uncheck this. You can require your employees to sign out. This would be what I would do if I would actually want to have them sign out. And then also here, automatically sign employees out after the inactive period is due, and then give the default time. So this is what I was talking about. If this is checked, if they meet the 5 hours, for instance, they'll get 60 minutes. Okay, so for me, this is probably the way I would do it. Maybe even shorten this just to 2 hours, so that way if they forget to sign out in 2 hours, they're automatically given the 60 minutes. Alright, and then the next section deals with your actual training courses that people will be taking. And these are a general guideline for setting your window that they can sign in for that training course. So here we have 20 minutes early by, and then I have 20 minutes late. Now I may want to encourage people to be early, so I'm going to give them that 20-minute window, but the late, I'm only going to give them, let's say, 10 minutes. Okay, so that way they have a half-hour window from the either 20 minutes before the start time or 10 minutes after. Therefore, you know, they have plenty of time to get in for that training course. Now this next section, the required presence, this is how long they have to be in the class in order to get credit. And we'll see you can assign credits for each of those classes, or basically if they get absent or present in there. So you can say how long they have to be. So for me, I'm going to want to set this across my account. I want our people to at least be in the session 75% of the time to get credit. Now any of these settings, if let's say I've already collected attendance and I'm doing these settings after the fact, like, you know, they've already collected a week's worth of attendance, but I'm finally going in here and updating this. I also have the ability to overwrite the existing courses. So basically it's going to go through and check all the attendance data against what we just set here. So in case that happened, I'm going to go ahead and save this. Okay, and so it's just warning me that it's going to be overwritten. I'm fine with that, so I'll say OK. Okay, and that's the minimum. There are some advanced things you can do in here with user roles, some other rules in the system, and as far as registration options, and even setting up your terminology, what they call translations down here. So later on you can go ahead and look at these sections if you feel you need something else changed in there. But that's the basics. So I'm just going to hit go back. It's going to take us back to the home page, or I can click home, or I can also click the AccuTraining logo and it'll take me back to our home page. Okay, from there I need to actually set up my training courses. So to get there, I'm going to go under the general section, training courses. You can see I've already got started here. I've got quite a few training courses in here. So I can either create a new one by clicking the create course button, or, you know, if I'm already got some in there, I'm going to go ahead and click on one of them so that I can edit it. So in this case, if I was creating it for the first time, I'm going to give it a name, and that's the minimum required for it, is at least a name for the training course. I could also provide additional information about it if I want in this details block. It's an optional field though. The next thing we're going to do though is set up when the sessions occur. So depending on, you know, how your schedule is set up, you may do these as one-time sessions or reoccurring sessions. And reoccurring sessions mean that it's going to happen every Sunday, every Monday, every Tuesday at a certain time. So let's say, you know, I've actually got a combination of both. I'm going to do, we meet every Wednesday from noon to 12:50, and let me change that. So we're going to make it noon 1250, and right here I can put a room that I'm going to meet in. Now if I don't know the room, there is a default room. Okay, so a default location. So I'm going to just select that for now that I can set it to. So that means every Wednesday they're going to have that class or course offering, as well as on these specific dates. So if I wanted to add a new session here where it's going to only happen, once, I can click on that add session, and so now I've got a specific date that I could set. So let's say I already know on the 14th, and we can set these times. It doesn't matter. Just goes by whatever schedule that you want to set here. So we'll say noon to 12:50 p.m. and I'm going to just say in the default location again. And the way I do that, I start typing it, whatever the name of it is, and click it once I've found it. Now I've actually got some rooms in here, but I just wanted to show you that there is a default if you ever need that. Okay, and on the class, if you notice, I've actually got the same settings in here that we just went ahead and set across the account. So they can sign in early by 20 minutes, they can leave, they can sign in late by up to 10 minutes to be considered present for this. And we also require 75%, and we also require that they sign out. So those were all the settings that we just set in the main account settings. Now if I have a special class that maybe doesn't follow these rules, I do have the options here to overwrite the main account settings and make a change to them. But if I like those settings, I'm just going to simply save it. Okay, and I would just go ahead and create these courses individually for each of my training courses that I want people to attend. Okay, now you're probably looking at this and saying, wow, that's going to be fun, I got to put all these in one by one. But if you have a lot of courses and you have those in a CSV file, we do also offer an import option. So here you can click on the home, and in here go to your advanced options, import, and if you look in the drop down, there's several things you can import. So we have training courses as one of those. We also have different user types that you can import, such as employees, operators, admins, and any special group, like we created a custom group called Officer Candidate. So all of these I would be able to import into the system. If I don't know how, there's actually a helpful link here to view some documentation on that. But essentially it's a CSV file, and if I look up training courses on how to do that, here's what I need. I need the name, I need a start time, an end time, and a location. So that's a very basic rundown of that. From there you can upload your files, of course. Okay, now that I have training courses in there, I'm going to want to go ahead and create some employees or people that basically are going to be signing in and out of these training courses. So under the users section, I'm going to go to my employees and users. Okay, and I've got a few already in here. Let's go ahead and let's say look at this one. If I wanted to create a new one, though, of course I've always got the create new in the top left corner in any of these sections. But I'm going to edit one that I've already got in here. And what you see is I have first and last name and an email address. Those are your three required fields. And if I want to, I can optionally give them a card number as well. And that's going to come in handy if you guys are using any kind of barcode readers. If you intend on using the Apple app, the camera built into the Apple device can be used to scan a barcode that might have this number on it and things like that. Also, we always require the email, because that's the way that you'd be able to contact those people if you want to email completed certificates when they complete training plans, or if you want to email badges, or just basically as a unique way of identifying that user. So that's why we have that in there. Also, you can offer a password for them to log in and view the attendance if they're just an employee. If they have other roles, like down here in the security section, if I were to make this person an operator, the operator would actually be able to log into the Apple device through the AccuTraining app and sign people in to training sessions. So they definitely need a password. Also, if you create other administrators in the system, which they would have access to all the stuff that we're looking at now, they would have the same, options as you in the system. Whereas that's why we have this ability to create other in-between roles. So maybe you don't want to give them full admin access, so I've got this officer candidate. And so this is one that I've actually created to give them something in between an operator and an admin role. But normally we're just going to be adding the employees manually here. Maybe we had a few walk in that we didn't know we were going to have for the training, so we'd add them in here. Same with the employees. You can also import this data. So instead of having to do them one by one, I can go ahead and import those. I also have the ability to upload a photo if we have one. So I just click there and add that. So I'm just going to cancel out of this and go to Home. In here, under Import, once again we saw that's where you would go import any employees that you need. And alright, so the next thing we need to do, so far we've adjusted our settings, we've went in and made our training courses, and we've added users. So the next thing we need to do is go ahead and get those users some badges. And the badges are important so they can swipe in for those training courses. Okay, and we've got a three-step process really to this. So under badges, you're first going to go to templates. Okay, in the templates, we're going to go ahead and create a badge template. Okay, when I do that, I just have to simply give it a name. And this is actually kind of a new way of doing this. We used to have where you had only a badge template for each type of user that you have in there. But in here I could essentially create as many as I'd like of different templates that I might use for just a temporary training course or something like that. So we could say something like temporary conference badge. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I have the option to just save that, so I could just save that title so that I could work on it later. Or if you look at it, I also have the save and design, so this would automatically take me to the design section. And if I did actually just save this, we also have a few options like design, print, email, or delete that template altogether on the far end of it once it's created. So anyways, the next step is we're going to design that badge. Okay. Now because I haven't worked on this, it's first going to ask me if I want to use one of these templates. If I don't like any templates that I see, I can just use the blank one, which is the first one here. Okay, so on this blank one, you see it already added our company logo here. It does a few things by default, like the account name, and as well as the full name of the employee. So these are just some general things that you can have on your badge, so we go ahead and put those on there for you. If you just wanted to have badges, this would be great, but you want to use these to scan people in. So what we're going to need to do is look over on our toolbox on the right side, and we're going to add a few more things. One of those is a barcode. So we're going to click on this add barcode. Okay, and these are like elements that I'm adding to this kind of table or desktop, if you will. and it's basically I can click on one of them. Once I see that it's highlighted and I get properties over here, I can go ahead and either click and drag and move these around like so. Let's see. To whatever position I want, or I can double click on them and, let's say, edit the text. Or while I'm doing that, I could change some of the properties, like maybe I want a different font in here. I want to change the size of the font. Okay, and while I'm editing the actual text here, I'll click off of it, and that's how I can see what it is. So you can see I've changed the font size and the font text. I could also change the color or even just the background of the square. To expand this box, there's a little handle on the bottom, so if I needed to, like it was cutting off the text, I'll take that little handle by the bottom right corner, expand that out. Okay, and I can also, even if I'm not messing with the text, I can also change the properties on it. So I'm going to set that back down to the size it was. And one thing you'll notice is we're using kind of like mail merge fields here, if you will. These replace the need to put somebody's actual name on the badge, and that's how we're making a template anyways. So if you look down here, there's special keywords that you can use. If I wanted to use the person's first name only, their last name, maybe I want to put the email address of the person on there, or the account name, or even I can do things like events. So maybe since this is a badge just for a particular event, I'm going to click on the add text box here. Okay, so I get this new text box. I'm going to click and drag that to the position I want it to. I'm going to elongate this box with the bottom right corner handle there. We'll double click it and add that mail merge field. So we're going to call this an event. Okay, and in here I'm going to change the size of it. Let's say that size. We're going to make it a centered object, and I'm fine with the black text color, so I'm going to click off of it, and we can see those changes updated when I click in the white space here. Okay, we're going to move the barcode right in the middle so it's real easy for people to be scanned in. So far you can see I've got the name of the event that's going to show up. I have the full name of the person and the name of our account in here. Okay, so once I'm done, I feel like I'm pretty comfortable with the design of this. I can go ahead and save this at the bottom. Also, before we move on, if I want to change the background to maybe my own custom background that I put in here, I do have the option when I'm not selected on any of the actual items here. I can click over here and change background image. I could also change the background color if I want. Okay, so here's our color picker options, and let's say I want to make that my background color. There we go. So there's my background color now. Okay, and if I want to select an image, let's just say this one. There we go. So I've got crazy image that I'm going to tell it none again, and we're going to set this back to white. Okay, there we go. Okay, so everything's looking good on my badge. I got it designed. I'm going to save that. Okay, so my template's been saved. So the next step is I'm going to go ahead and print those badges. Okay, and let's see. Okay, temporary conference badge. Okay, now who are the people that are going to receive this badge? Now this is where we go with. We can either do all employees or employees with attendance. So for me, I'm just going to say all employees need to go to this. Okay, and we can also filter based on a role, so we can either say all in there or all the employees in there. So I'm going to just pick a role that we have in there, such as the default employees only, because I won't need badges for myself or my operators. And finally, I can generate all badges, or even further limit it by saying only for specific employees. So right now I'm just going to do all badges though. Okay, when I click the generate, it takes a second, but then down here at the bottom I have a PDF ready with my badges. Okay, and you can see here, because I didn't have an event selected, it's just saying event up here, but Johnny Bravo here and David Foster, all my employees basically are in here with the demo for AccuTraining account name, and we all have their card numbers in here, so each of those get their own unique barcode generated for the card number. Okay, and so at this point I would actually go print those out. Now just some advice since we've been doing this. When you go to print out your badges, what you'll want to do is you're going to open them with Adobe Reader. Okay, so if you don't have that, you'll want to download that from adobe.com. Okay, so it downloaded, it opened in actually Adobe Reader here. So when I go to print these badges, I'm going to print, okay, and I'll get a menu that comes up. And here, what we're going to do is we're going to say actual size. For some reason, Adobe has this thing set to shrink or fit or something odd, but we want the actual size, and that way it'll actually fit out on the 6 badge per page Avery paper. Okay, and so then I just hit print at this time, but I'm not going to do it. But that's how you would print these badges, so that you get them in the right dimensions and you don't have to play with any of the settings or move the paper around or do anything odd. Okay, so I'm going to exit out of this and I'm going to go back to my home, because now that we've got badges, we need to start tracking attendance. So here we have 2 options to go with. I can either start creating a sign-in station for a computer so that all my employees can go ahead and swipe in at a sign-in station, or I can choose to use the Apple device and either have myself or operators on the Apple devices scanning people in. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the sign-in stations. I'm going to click under the attendance heading under sign-in stations. Okay, you can see I've got a few sign-in stations already here. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and create a new one, and this is going to be for that conference that we have going on. So I'm going to say conference sign-in. Okay. Here I can give some instructions to my employees that are going to be signing in if I'd like in here. Now it gives you a little bit of some text, so if you want to just leave the default, which I'm going to do. Then I have the option to pick which mode. There's basically a manual and a kiosk mode. Preferably I would use the kiosk mode because it knows whether the person's already signed in or not. So that way if it's a sign in or a sign out, it'll know which way to assign that to the person. Versus manual mode, they're going to have to click on an arrow on the screen to say which they're signing in or if they're signing out. And that can be, a little bit of a hassle if you've got a long line of employees that are waiting to sign in for a training session. So typically I'm going to run it in kiosk personally. At the time when they swipe, or if they type their ID or whatever that you have them doing, you can have the option of showing the visitor name instead of just the card number that's signed in. You could also show the photo. That way we can see who's signing in. Okay. As well as I can provide a admin passcode, which this might help do a few quick things without having to log back into the system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a real simple passcode here, something that I could give to maybe an operator that would be helping manage the class swipes. Maybe the instructor would do that, and give them this information so they wouldn't have necessary access to the whole back end, but they could do a few things at the sign-in station. Okay, finally what I'm going to do is I'm going to base what shows up on the sign-in screen on a particular room. Okay, so for me I'm going to use the default location, and here I'm presented with two options. I can either save and install on this computer, or I can save without installing. Okay, so either option would be great. Here I'm just going to say save without installing, because I'm not going to actually assign this computer to the sign-in station. I'm actually just setting this up so that when I get to that computer in that other room, I would be able to install it there. So I'd simply log in and come back here and install it on that other computer. But so right now I'm going to save without installing. Okay, so I see that now I have a conference sign-in. Okay, let me go back to the home. Now you're like, well, how do I get to the sign-in station from here? Now if I were a sign-in station, I would go ahead and simply log out of the system. Okay, and let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so I am actually a sign-in station. I don't know which one at the moment, but you can see a few things. I'm ready to start swiping people in for the security clearance refresher from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. and it's ready to accept an ID. It's also in kiosk mode because I don't have the arrow where I have to switch back and forth whether I'm signing people in or out. Okay. Now down here in the bottom left I have these admin options, and remember how we created a short passcode to unlock it and do a few things? Well, I'm going to use that now just to show you. And there's a few things I can do. I can change the event. So up here, in case this was the incorrect class that was showing up, which really shouldn't be unless your schedule's kind of messed up or you have several classes going on in the same room at the same time. But you know, typically what I would do if that happens a lot, you're going to have to, you know, go ahead and look at your schedule again and make sure nothing conflicts. But what I would do here is simply click Change Event. I can type in the name of event, so let's say arson, for instance. So here, now I can start signing people in for the arson. Okay, so now it's saying 12 to 12:50 is arson case management. Okay, and until I change that back, it's going to stay there, and everybody who swipes is going to be swiping in for that course. Okay, so even when I log out, they're still signing in for this until I change it back. And if you notice, I can just type anything from whatever that class was called to find the name of the class and get it to show up. Click it, hit enter, and we've changed it. Okay. As well on these admin is I have the normal login. So if I want to get back to log in to the entire account, then this is where I would do so. Okay, so now I'm back in here. Okay, and pretty much from that point on, that's how I would sign people in. Now, if I want to keep on going here and you know, go ahead and get it set up so that I can use the Apple app, first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and create me some operators. So in the users section, I'm going to go to employees and users. Okay, in here, I'm going to go ahead and select a user that already exists. So let's say Jack Cousteau here. And in here, I'm going to go ahead and change this person to a different status. Now this person actually happened to already be an operator, but if they were an employee, I'm going to go ahead and create them as an operator and save their account information. Also, I need to make sure that they have a password. In case they didn't have a password, I would go ahead and quickly give them one. And they could always change the password later on when they log in by going up to the top right here, clicking this, and doing change password. Okay, so I would save this at this point, and now I have the Jack Cousteau, who's an operator who can log in on the Apple devices. Now, I won't be able to show you too much of what goes on with the Apple devices, but what we can do is I'm going to take you out to the help section, which is located right here on the top right underneath the download app. And we're just going to go through learn how to record attendance. Okay, and we're going to use the device option. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is say using the Apple device. Okay, and this kind of goes through everything you need to do, but first thing you need to do is go to your App Store. Then you're going to need to search for the term AccuTraining. Once you've got the app pulled up, it looks similar to this. You're going to go ahead and tap the cloud symbol to download it. Okay, once it's downloaded, you can either click Open if you're still in the App Store, or go ahead and tap on the icon on your Apple device. When you get in there, you're going to see a screen similar to this, and you're going to click Sign In. Okay, here you're going to be presented with your domain, which is provided when you set up an account, an email address, as well as the password. And if you're an operator, you'd use the password provided plus the your email address. Okay, from there it's going to sync. It's going to ask you what location. So here's just a screenshot of that. So I'm going to pick one of these locations so that I can start tracking attendance for it. Okay, once I'm tracking attendance, I'm going to get a screen like this where I can either scan people in or do manual entry. Okay, basically scanning people in is if I'm going to be using the barcode reader option through the device's camera, whereas if I'm going to do manual entry, that's either because I'm going to type in their ID or I'm going to use like a magnetic swiper on the iPad or iPod to go ahead and read an ID card. So here we see another image where the ID is either being manually entered or scanned in through the magnetic swiper. Okay, and then after that you're either going to get a big red screen saying they've signed out or a green screen saying they've signed in. And you can see on this we actually have it in the manual mode where you have the in and out arrow that you're going to tap to switch whether they're doing signed in or if they're doing signed out. Okay, and any way that you choose, after you've done that, you're going to go ahead and sync the device. So in the top right corner of the app, you have an options, and from there you're going to tap the sync option. Okay, and you're going to see several screens similar to these. But at the end, you want to see it say finish successfully. That means that it's sunk all of your attendance data with the AccuTraining website. Okay, and from there we're going to go ahead and see that in our reports section here. And here's all your different types of reports. We've got attendance reports, registration reports, training plan reports as far as what progress has been made, and all of this. So let's see if I've got a good training plan progress report. I'm going to just show you one that I have in here. So I call this police training plan A. I'm going to show report. And here I have 2 people that are assigned that, and it looks like they have not started any of these. But you can see in my training plan I have some items that they need to complete. So for instance, they've got to attend managing the property and evidence room, attend arson case management. So there's a few different courses in this police training plan that I've actually created, and they have to at least do a minimum of 1 hour of training at least once every 14 days. So there's different things like that that you'll be able to get in a report to see where they're progressing, as well as reports on their attendance. So if I look at the training course data, let's pull that up for arson management, let's say. Okay, so we can see this one person signed in, Polly Shore, to room 101, and the percentage in is 70%. Okay, so I could print that. Now I would have more users if I've actually signed in more people. But yeah, so I've got a few options to print, and I can go back and change the event if I know another one that I want them to do. Let's see, property and evidence room, let's show report. So I've got one here for Chuck Norris as well. Okay, now one thing that's an optional thing, like we've been talking about though, is setting up training plans. So here I have training plans. And we're going to go ahead and create a new one here. Alright, and I'll say this officer program plan. Okay, and I basically need the name here. We can set a start date and an end date. Let's say they only have a certain time that they can do these between. So maybe I'll start at 9th. We'll run that till the end of next month. Okay, I can assign this to an employee group. An employee group basically is something you can create on the employee section where you can assign a certain group of employees to this plan. Now if I haven't done that, I can always save this plan without a group assigned to it, go back and add one, and do it later. But I'm going to see, do I have officers? Yep, so first year officers, here we go. I'm going to add them as the group. Okay, and then I'm going to make some training course requirements here. So we're going to say add course. And you can see they have to attend a specific course. So we'll say arson case management. So that's one thing I can do. I can add another course for a specific amount of times. So let's say this was evidence one. Okay, so we're going to say that one, and they have to be there at least twice a week. So we're going to say twice every 7 days. Okay, so you see how that one was added with requirement per week or whatever. And then finally, I have a specific amount of hours that they must attend. So here I can just simply say how many hours. And here I'll say they need to at least, to complete this course, complete 30 hours. Save that. So here's all my requirements, and it'll tell me how far along in the progress reports they are on these plans. You know, if they've already taken this course and met that requirement, if they've come in at least every 7 days twice, you know, how well they're doing with that, and give me percentages for all that. So I'm just going to save this plan. So now I have the officer program plan. Okay, and so that's where I would get some progress reports on that. Alright, so I'm going to go home, and we can do that again. Let's say training progress by, well, we'll do the first one here, training plan progress. Look up my officer one. Okay, so here's my 2 people that are in that employee group and how far along they are on it. And we use kind of like a stoplight system. Red means they haven't started, yellow means that they're still working on it, and green meaning that it's been completed. Okay, and then I guess the final thing that you could do um, would be to create some certificates for the training courses once they're done. And this works really similar to the badges. So you'll go ahead and create a template. I've already got a few here. So let's go ahead and design this here. So here's an example of a template that I have. And I can add images, do all the same kind of things that we did with the badge. And I'm going to save this. Okay. Alright, so now that I've saved that, I'm going to go ahead and I want to maybe print some of these out for people. And we've got the same kind of options, so I'm going to say my completion certificate. We're going to say all employees. For this one I want to do with attendance. And I'm going to use all the employee roles. And you could even say what dates for this attendance, but I'm just going to extend that all the way out to the end of next month. I can even specify for what locations and things like that. I'm not going to, and we'll just say all certificates that meet that criteria, and finally hit generate. So it queues the job, and now our certificates are ready to print. Okay, and so I guess I have nobody that met that criteria. Now if I get a little more lenient, so let's say all employees, and we're going to say all certificates. Alright, and I'm going to do the same thing, generate. Okay, and view them. And this might be just what I do just to preview what it would look like, when they're done. If I'm finally happy with, the printout that I have, you can see I've got, I can hit next page up here and see all my users. But if I'm happy with it, I'll do the same thing. I'll want to download that and print the actual size on that. Okay. And there was one thing I think I skipped over real quick. I'm going to go into it. Is you can actually register employees for certain sessions as well that they're supposed to take. So in the training courses here, let's say this arson case management. Wait. Okay, I'm going to go to session registration up here in the training courses. I'm going to select a course, so we're actually going to use that one like I was saying, arson case management. And here I can register them for a specific date. So I know that I had on the 14th, I was setting a special session, so I'm going to say view sessions. Okay, and since that was the only one available right now, it shows me who I have registered and if I want to change that session. So let's try this again. Okay, 14th, view sessions. Okay, and for some reason I'm not able to do it. I think I need to go into my settings and make sure I have it turned on as well. Let's do that. Settings and session registration options. Okay, for a specific training course, so we're going to say arson. Okay, I'm going to edit the settings for this and see it was, sure enough, it was set to disabled. So I'm going to go ahead and enable that. And here I could set a capacity. So for instance, I have 40, and I could set my training instructor. There he is. And so I'm going to save that. Okay, and now I'm going to go back and we'll try it again. Session registration, type in my course. There we go, and select the 14th, view sessions. Okay, so here's what I was expecting. This is where I can type in somebody's name and register them for the course. Now it's just for this specific date. So if I have a specific date that I know I need certain people there, I would go ahead and put them in there. So let's see, who do I have? Let's say Jack. There he is, Jack Sparrow. And then once I got his name in there, hit enter. So it's going to add him. And let's say Chad. Nope. Okay, so Dwayne, and I'm just clicking on the person in the list and hitting enter. And let's use that other again. So I have Fred Johnson, Johnny Bravo. Okay, so I think I've got enough people. Basically, I can also click the Add Employee button too once I get them in that field. And if I want to change the session, I can go ahead and start registering folks for another date in that session. Alright, well, once I'm done, I can just simply click the home key and get out of there. But so now I've got registered users. And what that does, though, is it allows it so that only those people will be able to attend that. If somebody scans in that's not supposed to be there, they won't be allowed to join. And from here, that's pretty much all I have for you as far as getting started. Check out more here in the next few videos that we're going to be doing. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can email us at support@engineerica.com or myself, nicka@engineerica.com. And call us with any questions through the contact us link at engineerica.com. All right, well, thanks. This has been fun. You guys have a great day. Bye.